To become the best of your field, it actually doesn't take a lot. Progress creates answers. The most important thing that I'll tell you guys is change is supposed to make you feel anxious. It's supposed to make you feel worried. It's the difference between success and inaction. You and I, while we have those same emotions, are gonna put the puzzle pieces together and sit there and do it for as long as it takes. While we're being judged by others, while we feel uncomfortable, you have to be willing to do things that you've never done before. Hey guys, welcome back to the Grant Mitt Podcast episode. It's crazy to say 100, the 100th episode. It has been an amazing journey with you guys. Some of you guys have listened from the beginning. Some of you guys, this may be the first time you've ever heard this podcast, but I just want to thank you guys so much for the support. I've always wanted to make content and just help people and give back to the world. I'm on this journey just like you guys are, dealing with the same problems and stress likely you are. But if I can give you guys the lessons that I've gone through and I'm going through to help your journey, then that makes it all worth it for me. So thank you guys again, and let's go ahead and get started. So I want to talk to you guys in detail about how the top 1% thinks and how you can start thinking like the greatest minds, not only now it's in the world, but has lived in the past. And, you know, I started this development journey probably in 2013, 2014, give or take. I mean, I was always a nerd and studying business and different things, but I really started studying really successful business people and people really in every single industry. And I noticed certain traits that were similar that they had that was different than everybody else, even though that they were so unique and different and they were in these different industries. I mean, so much so that I was picking up similarities for people who were a rapper, hip hop artist as someone that was an entrepreneur. And I've noticed someone that's in the tech space for someone in oil and gas has very similar traits. And so I've always seeked to figure out how I could implement these things in my life, and then now I can give back to you. So the first thing that's really important is that to become the best of your field, it actually doesn't take a lot. There's a study done that if you simply just spend 16 minutes per day learning something, by the end of the year, in 1 year, 365 days, you will be better than 95% of people. And sometimes that's all it takes. And I learned this in sales and business. When I first got into sales, I felt like I was a pretty good communicator, but I was, middle of the ground. And I became, at one point, the companies I work with, the top sales rep, unbelievably high closing percentages. And it's because every single day while I was driving to appointments, during those 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, especially when I was living in Houston and the traffic was crazy, I would get 3 to 4 hours of content from the best sales minds in the world just going into my head every single day. So not only was I practicing as much as everybody in my company through the normal sales trainings we had to do, I was adding anywhere between 1 to 4 hours of knowledge every single day. So after a year, think about it. If they only listened to 1 hour a week, think about how many years ahead of them I was, even though we were doing the same things and we were having the same experiences. The gap that you have to achieving what you want, it all comes down to information and skill sets. And it's like, how long is it going to take you to learn this lesson? Is it going to take you 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, or a week, or a day? And I think Einstein said, one's intelligence level is their ability to change. You have to change. If you're listening to this video right now, even if you're making $100 million a year and you want to become a better father, you're going to have to change. If you want to become a better leader and take that to 200 million or $1 billion, you're going to have to change. If you're a college kid starting from scratch and you're trying to figure out your way, you're going to have to change. If you've been in this industry and you've done great, but the industry is just not growing and you want to get into something different, you're going to have to change. And the most important thing that I'll tell you guys is change is supposed to make you feel anxious. It's supposed to make you feel worried. Let me give you an example. Let's say 3 or 4 of you guys and myself are sitting in this room right now. And they said they brought in this puzzle and they didn't show what the puzzle was going to be. And they dumped the puzzle, 1,000-piece puzzle, and they put it on this table. And it would be like us sitting here debating and yelling at each other of what the puzzle is going to look like. And then sitting in the corner and going to sleep and eating and just living our life and stressing for years and years and years of what does that puzzle look like? That sounds crazy, right? It's a puzzle. But we do that with our life. Like, is it going to work out? Am I going to meet the right person? Is my business going to succeed? But this is what's cool. Progress creates answers. Progress gives you peace. I don't know why, but we suffer and have anxiety and stress and worry in inaction. When you're sitting there not doing anything. When it's late at night and you're not doing any work. When you're sitting in your car and you're alone. When you're going through a walk. Like, that's when you have the anxiousness. But you don't have that anxiousness when you take massive action. So let's go back to the puzzle. Instead of us being stressed and worrying about what that puzzle is going to look like and is it going to look good, let's try to put together a couple pieces. We start putting it together. Then all of a sudden, let's just say that it was a car, it was a picture of a car. All of a sudden, maybe you or I or whoever, we put it, and we're like, that kind of looks like a tire. It looks like a wheel. Like, maybe it's a car. We start putting it together, like, whoa, the back of it kind of looks like a car. Then we're like, what car is it though? Like, I don't know. And we're like, oh, it's a Chevelle. You're like, well, what's the background? So as we put together each piece, the puzzle comes together and we know not only what it looks like, but what the purpose of it is. Our life is that same way. We're putting together small pieces to a giant puzzle every single day. But if you're wasting large amount of time, sometimes months and weeks, not putting the puzzle together, not growing, not learning, not developing, but most importantly, you can listen to all these podcasts all you want, but if you're not taking action, it's not going to happen. Are you actually doing the steps necessary to create that successful life and that successful business that you want? Only you know that answer. My message to you is start putting together the puzzle. It's gonna make you feel worried. But the difference between the successful and the not successful is while that person is stressing about is their puzzle gonna come together and look the right way, you and I, while we have those same emotions, are gonna put the puzzle pieces together and sit there and do it for as long as it takes while we feel worried, while we feel a little bit of anxiousness, while we're being judged by others, while we feel uncomfortable going into rooms that we're not used to being in. While we feel those same emotions, we're still putting that puzzle together while that person sits there, worries, and does absolutely nothing. That is the difference between success and inaction. And that's the difference between the 1% and the 99%. You have to be willing to do things that you've never done before. You look at anybody that's successful, guys, even I say Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's been doing podcasting for I think 15 years. He said he didn't even make any money with it for 5 to 6 years. It takes time. And there's an example, I think I might have told this story once. I had all my sales team there and we had this brand new sales rep, and we're typically a company that calls, sets, and closes appointments on the phone. And this one sales rep had been going door to door and being super successful. It's like, man, this guy closed another deal. He's going door to door. And everyone's like, man, what's the secret? What's the secret? So I have him on and we're all on Zoom, the whole company, our whole sales team. And I go, hey, I'll just call him Johnny. It's like, Johnny, what's been working with you, man? I see you've been doing door to door. You've closed all these extra deals. You made an extra $30,000 this month. What's the secret? I thought there was a secret. And he goes, well, I get off of this meeting. I drive to a neighborhood and I start knocking. And then I take a quick break and then I knock another 100 doors and then this and then this. And then I usually leave at about 8:30 to 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, wait, what? You said you knock till 9 o'clock at night? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, what happens if you don't hear numbers? I just keep going. And it was the most boring answer you could ever imagine. And everyone's face was like, and it couldn't have been a more beautiful lesson to the company. And honestly, to me. Because even me, I was like, what's the secret? This guy must be doing something different. I've door knocked before, and it's hard. I've done good, but that's great. He just outworked him. And sometimes the answer is not doing 2 times more, but 10 times more. And you have to grow into a person that is capable, guys. This is the key. I always thought that they were going to come rescue me and say, man, Grant, there's just something special about you. I'm going to mentor you and blah, blah, blah. I always thought this little thing was going to happen. I guess I watched too many damn movies. I don't know. And I realized that person's not coming. And instead, I have to become that person myself. And I was in New York. I applied to like 1,000 jobs, all these, Fox, CNBC, Apple, all these big companies, Google, for everything, every internship you can imagine. You know how many interviews I got? 0. So I was like, screw this. I'm going to become an entrepreneur and just make my own business. So I went and sat for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours every single day, even till this day, I still do this nonstop, to groom and shape myself into the person that is capable of actually producing these goals. And as I'm saying earlier, that doesn't feel good, guys. It's not supposed to make you feel great. I work with business owners and entrepreneurs along with running my own businesses. I do consulting, and they'll say, man, I'm just stressed, man. I don't know why. And I'm like, it's because you're running a business, brother. You're doing, and we'll analyze it, and we'll delegate, and we'll fix a lot of things to where they feel better. But I was like, you're growing. And growing is supposed to feel uncomfortable. But what I tell them is that the things you stress about now will be a joke to you in 10 years because you're going to grow so much. And that's what you have to keep pushing for. And I tell this to you guys as well, is that, the better that you get, the better you are at handling different things. But that also means you're going to solve bigger problems in the future and be responsible for more things. And your impact and everything around it will come with that. All right. So let's look at everything. All right. And I want to talk to you also about, how to make these goals and ambitions realistic. I always say this all the time. When I started becoming more realistic, I became more successful. But people confuse being realistic with thinking small. You can be realistic and still think huge. You just have to break it down like a formula. You have to be honest about what it would take to do it. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you want to work in a specific industry and there's this dream job where you can make incredible money and it's just something you would be great in. Instead of hoping and praying every day that's going to happen and just doing a bunch of random things and being a hardworking person, you could definitely end up in the right place, but it's going to be sporadic. Break it down into a simple formula and go, okay, those 3 companies in the industry that I want to work for and those people that make this type of money, who are they? Simple first principles. Get on LinkedIn, type in the thing, and look at everybody that works in those companies and connect with every single person that's in that role for all 3 of those companies. Then, before you reach out to them and ask for something because they don't owe you anything, I want you to first say, like, how did they get the job? Who are they? Where are they from? Where did they go to school? What experience did they have beforehand? How old are they? What did they get? What do they specialize in? How long have they been there? How long did it take to get this job? And you can find a general consensus of all of those different types of people. Because remember, you have to become the person to where the shoe fits, to where they're seeking you. You can't do that if you don't become that person. If you're not good at your job and that's just your dream and you're a hardworking person, you're not getting the damn job. You have to become the person that's capable of getting hired there. So then you go, okay, I'm about to go to college, or I have gone to college. Do I need to get another degree? Can I take a business course? Harvard and MIT and Chicago Booth and Wharton, they all have specialized classes. Would that help? Could you go to a specific conference, get a VIP pass, and go meet all of these people? Could you go get a job that's close to it, that's in a sister type company, but would allow you not only to learn the same skill sets that those people have, but connect with them so you could potentially get recruited? All of these things are so key. I know multiple friends right now that were struggling. Well, they had a great job, but they were having a rough time. They improved, focused themselves unbelievably, ended up becoming the best of the best at their job, whether it was in sales, whether it was in finance, whatever the case may be, then got recruited by some of the top companies in the world, making 3x what they're making now. I mean, ridiculous money for not being an entrepreneur. And it was because they became the person that was capable of working there. Or they became the entrepreneur that was capable of running a $10 million business. They became that person. And that is the difference. Everybody wants to become that person, but nobody wants to do the things that it takes to become it. That's the different ballgame. And you're supposed to feel stressed. You're supposed to feel uneasy because you're doing something that you've never done before. Okay? Do things because you're supposed to. Okay, next is it's important to operate off of systems, processes, and not emotions. If you guys are doing things only when you feel motivated, you will never be in the top 1%. Maybe you're lucky, you'll get away with it, but it's going to be very difficult. Like right now, this is a Sunday morning. I woke up super early, came here. I'm going to be in here for 2 hours. Then I'm driving to Houston. I'm going to be on calls all day. I'm going to be working all day. I'm going to be planning my week. I don't feel like doing that. I wish I was watching NFL football right now because I love football. But I'm here because I know I need to do it because my week is so busy that this is the best time for me to knock this out. You have to operate off of process. If you only make the necessary calls, emails, outreaches, or go to the event when you feel great, you'll always have the short end of the stick. The motivated will always be beaten by the disciplined. You always have to think like that. Okay, 3, the top 1% always has an abundance mindset. They are not jealous. It's important that if you get that feeling or that instinct, like you have a 1 ounce of jealousy in you, you need to work on that and get rid of it. I want you to start being inspired by people around you. One thing that you'll do is once I met this guy that's a billionaire, and he is the biggest restaurateur in the United States. He's incredible. And I met him. He was a smart guy, but when I met him, I was like, wow, he wasn't any smarter than I was. And it's funny because he said that. He's like, man, I'm no smarter than anybody in here. I just know my business. I know my numbers, and I'm good at what I do, and I work my tail off 24/7 to make it happen. And you can learn from everybody, including people that are at different levels. You could go talk to the intern at your company that is the most successful out of the group and say, hey, what made you successful here? How did you set this many appointments compared to them? They'll tell you. You may learn something. Ask everybody. When someone's successful, I want you guys to start celebrating that success like it is your own. Because when your mind is filled with abundance, it attracts more of it. It attracts more of it. And I've met just some incredible people, guys, in the last year and a half. And I don't know why, but I just think it's because I love being around happy, successful people. And I haven't asked them for anything. I don't need to, because I'm doing my own thing, but I will support and help them in any way that I can because I learn from them. They're great people and we make each other better. And that's the type of things that you guys also need to do. It's like, go seek abundance, guys. Go seek abundance and go be around people that make you better and help you grow and learn, because it doesn't have to take 30 years. Guys, we can do this in 6 months. You can alter your entire life, but doing so is chasing the uncomfort and chasing the person that you have to become to produce those results. And you have to break it down in a systematic manner. What do they read? Where do they go? What do they learn? Who are their coaches? What degrees do they have? What experiences do they have? What things do they know? What people do they know? What people do you need to know? Who needs to know you? All those questions that I'm asking right there will give a laundry list of things that you need to solve. And you want to put them in order and solve them one by one until you become the person that's capable of achieving your goals. So hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you're an entrepreneur looking to scale your business, I got a link below. I have a small community of 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs who are trained in developing their companies. And as always, you guys can find me on all my social media channels at Grant Mitt. Other than that, I hope you guys have an incredible week, and I'll see you guys for episode 101. Thank you, guys.